Welcome to the SVG-TV evening news for today, Thursday, February 17th. I'm Khalil Cato with the details. Minister of Education Curtis King, who is the incoming chair of the OECS Council of Ministers of Education, said member countries need to work together to overcome the challenges facing the education sector. Minister King told the education officials at the opening of the two-day meeting of the 7th OECS Council of Ministers at the NIS conference room this morning that countries and their vulnerabilities were exposed since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The theme for this year's meeting is Education is in Extraordinary Times, From Vulnerability to Resilience. According to Minister King, the theme speaks volumes of the current state of many countries, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
In this very important meeting at a critical juncture in the sub-region's campaign for regional integration. Moreover, the meeting is being held at what I believe to be the tail end of the most serious threat to our education systems since we attained independence 40 years ago. I speak of the COVID-19 pandemic and the severe disruption of our education system. The impact of the pandemic has the potential to reverse the post-independence progress that we have collectively made in advancing our education system.
The education minister said he would like to see certain areas strengthened in the education system.
In this context, our meeting will provide a platform for the sub-region's ministers of education and other stakeholders to reflect and exchange ideas on the current state of our education and to strengthen the regional coordinated response to the challenges facing our education. Specifically, the meeting will examine selected key education issues in keeping with the OECS education sector strategy. The meeting will agree to strategies and policies related to advancing education initiatives associated with ongoing implementation of the OECS and response to COVID-19 pandemic.
As part of the agenda, presentations and recommendations will be made by youths to be taken on board by the regional education officials.
Finally, our meeting will hear from the next generation of leaders, the youth. Two students, one from the secondary schools and another from the primary schools, will share their perspectives on their education in these extraordinary times, and make recommendations to the ministers on how to address some of these challenges.
Vice Chancellor and Chair of the Board of Undergraduate Studies of the University of the West Indies, Professor Justin Robinson, acknowledged the difficulties the education sector is facing, brought on by many challenges. Professor Robinson, who was the featured speaker at today's opening, stressed the importance of reopening schools. However, he said of equal importance is the safe reopening of schools.
Grapple with the challenges posed by the ongoing, ever-evolving COVID-19 pandemic. At the primary, secondary, and university level, a number of our students have been forced to learn in a primarily online mode. There's been much documented by a range of agencies and researchers about the potential for educational deficits, especially among those at the primary and secondary level. And as you deliberate, I'm hoping you can find strategies that we can safely reopen schools across the Eastern Caribbean sub-region and continue to provide these educational services in a safe manner so that we don't risk a lost generation or major educational deficits.
Professor Robinson, who is also a Vicentia national, said the UWI is willing to lend support to all member countries to ensure that no child is left behind in a digital age.
As you grapple with these issues, the UWI stands ready to provide any technical or any other assistance that is required, as we have developed quite a bit of experience and competence in this area. As you deliberate, we are also grappling with a rapidly evolving world. We are almost fully into a digital age. Artificial intelligence is upon us. And our education system needs to pivot quite rapidly to produce citizens who are capable of competing, thriving in this new digital age. Again, these are major policy issues that the education system must grapple, as the skills, competencies, and outlook needed for competing in a digital age.
Tomorrow, a press conference will be held where the outcome of the discussions will be shared. 10 months on since the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano, 79 persons remain in emergency shelters, 23 from North Leeward and 56 from North Windward. Speaking on NBC Radio's face-to-face program yesterday, Acting Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel said that the government is doing its best to ensure that these persons get back to the comfort of their homes.
These are persons in shelters. Of course, through the Ministry of Tourism, at a number of hotels and other areas that can hold such accommodation, during the period of the La Soufrière volcano, a number of persons were housed through the Ministry of Tourism. But most of those, as a matter of fact, all of that would have been subsumed into the Ministry of Mobilization. Mm-hmm. And as the families find favor in their locale, that they are returning slowly but surely.
Minister Daniel also noted that there are 46 families who are in the care of the Ministry of National Mobilization, with over 200 persons in rented apartments.
And the Ministry of Tourism is no longer taking care of any of the families. But the Ministry of Mobilization, which also subsumed that from the Red Cross, as you know, the Red Cross was assisting in paying rents and so on for families. But the Ministry of Mobilization has now taken over that responsibility. And so some 48 families are still under the care of the Ministry of Mobilization, where some 236 persons are still in rented facilities, including apartments.
Okay.
It is important that we know that there are still families there that have not gone back to their homes at this point in time.
The acting Prime Minister said that there are some persons who remain in shelters who are of the opinion that they will be getting new houses. But he noted that only persons whose homes are located in areas already deemed not fit for living will be accommodated, which is about 68 persons.
There are just over some 600 houses that were destroyed or had some form of damage, of which they will be repaired. As I indicated, we have started the level 1s and 2s, which are the more minor damages. And the level 3 and 4s are where you have the major damages. And this is where we will repair those houses with damages of level 3 and 4, right where they are located, so that there is no complication in this issue. If your house is not affected by the lahars, it is not threatened in the riverbed, but that your house is on safer ground, but it was damaged, it was destroyed, the government policy is that we are going to repair that house.
In reference to the National Feeder Roads project, Minister Daniel said the work is ongoing and is now in the second phase.
That is, doing the National Agriculture Feeder Roads project here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines by create dynamics where we are now into the second phase of the rebuilding of these roads. Of course, the fourth phase is basically completed, and we are into the second phase of the rebuilding of these roads.
Minister Daniel said that he is happy that all contracts have been signed for 12 roads to be constructed under the National Feeder Roads project.
These 12 roads basically are the Fairhall Road, Farm Macmillan Road, Copeland Road, Palmyra Road, Malone Road, Benjamin Bristol Road, Richland Park Road, Gome Road, Old Sandy Bay Village Road, Lamy Road, Verivine Road, and Lourdes Chapman's Road. I want to let the nation know, including the representatives of these constituencies, that for all of these roads, all of the contracts would have been signed, and in some cases, works have started on some of these roads.
The National Feeder Roads project, which got started in 2019, is funded by Kuwait. SVG was given a loan of about $32 million for the development of feeder and secondary roads. Food exports from SVG increased during the first month of 2022, signaling the evident recovery in the agriculture sector following this severe impact of the La Soufrière volcano eruptions in 2021. This is according to a news release from the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, IICA, which said a total of 516,753 kilos of agricultural and fisheries products valued at $1.3 million were sold by SVG to 13 countries in January, according to data disseminated by the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labor. The news release said an inter-annual comparison to January 2021 reveals that there has been a 5% increase in the quantity of exported products and a 38% increase in the value. As a result of the volcanic eruptions in April 2021, many farmers lost crops due to the ashfall on their land, compelling the government to declare a food security emergency. In the aftermath, the state gave economic assistance to small farmers and hired tractors to plow the land to enable crops to be sown again. The country received support and solidarity from organizations and governments from the Americas and other parts of the world. The United States was the main destination for SVG's exports for the year thus far, which represented a value of more than $300,000. Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados followed in second and third place. The other 10 export destinations were Anguilla, Bouvet Island, the British Virgin Islands, Canada, France, Great Britain, Grenada, St. Kitts Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Martin. The release said in total there were 42 types of exported agricultural and fisheries products, including tubers, vegetables, fruit, spices, and lobster. On Wednesday, St. Vincent and the Grenadines recorded its fifth fully vaccinated COVID-19 death. A 63-year-old male with underlying conditions was admitted to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital on February 14th with severe respiratory disease and later died. The patient tested positive as part of his post-mortem assessment and was determined to have died from COVID-19 pneumonia. This brings the death toll from COVID-19 to 104. Meanwhile, active COVID-19 cases in SVG are down to 76 with 15 recoveries. 2 new PCR and 6 new rapid antigen cases were recorded for the reporting period. 4 persons are hospitalized, all unvaccinated. To date, 66,851 COVID-19 vaccines have been administered on island. Torrential rainfall in late April 2021 caused 2 families from Rockies to be displaced after both homes were flooded out and 1 home was completely destroyed. Ian Edwards, the owner of the home that was destroyed, told SVG-TV News that although his family is still traumatized by the unfortunate event, he is still looking at it as a blessing, as he was able to, as he was pushed to start building his own home on his own land after having delayed the process for years.
Little baby at the time, the baby was just 3 months at the time, you know, and to mobilize everybody and to get us out of the house safely was a kind of dramatic situation, because we was moving out the house while the house was moving at the same time. Yeah, so we was really scared. Basically, I see it as a blessing. I have seen the handiwork of God come true for me in every way, because I tell you the truth, I didn't really have this house in mind right now. I didn't really know I would have, you know, get this, you know, but through that, give me the mobilization and the motivation, to do that, you know, so I think it's a blessing.
Edwards noted that since the dreaded flood, he has received overwhelming support from a number of persons overseas in the form of donations, and he will be forever grateful to them. He also expressed gratitude to the government for assisting with building materials and for providing accommodation for him and his family after the flood.
Very much grateful for the help the government have come up and give me, and other donors like churches and other organized group. You know, I'm really grateful for that. And we have been coping. We have a little more time in the government rented apartment. We have a little more time there, so I'm trying to see how speedily I can get through with this. By June, July, I want to get out, you know, and get in here. So that's where it stands right now.
Edwards said that the building process for his new home has been difficult and is appealing for further help.
Some donations, yeah. If I could get some donation to get my my target, you know, that I'm trying to reach, I will really be happy, you know, because as I said, I have a little more months left, and if I could reach my target, the little donation will help. Yeah, anyway, steel, lumber, anything, and that will help.
Motorists across St. Vincent and the Grenadines are being cautioned by the second in charge of the traffic department of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, Assistant Superintendent of Police Parnell Brown, of the dangers of playing loud music in their vehicles while driving.
We are seeing and we're hearing private and public service transport play musical instrument. Now, this is very, very, very disturbing. It is not easy when you ride a transport, a public service transport, and you get into these vehicles and you will ask the driver and the conductor, driver, could you turn the music down? And they tell you, if you can't bear the music, come out. It is an offense. The law said it is an offense for you to be playing this music in these vehicles. I've been clamping down on that, and we will continue to clamp down on that. It is dangerous.
ASP Brown is also urging owners of omnibuses used as public transportation to rebuke their drivers and conductors for playing loud and obscene music.
Stay in Sion Hill and hear the vehicle coming in Prospect. It is dangerous. If a vehicle is approaching you with a defect, or if a trailer is approaching you and they blow their horns, you will not be in a position to hear because of your loud music. And these music are ridiculous. They are very disturbing. And I'm appealing to owners of public service transport to ask your driver and your conductor to desist from playing these kind of musics in the public service transport.
Motorists are also being cautioned about the use of additional lights on their vehicles.
If the motor vehicle is imported to St. Vincent and the Grenadines with 45 lights, and the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines said it must be equipped with 2 headlamps, one on the right, one on the left, the park light on the indicator or the right offside light, and so on. You can have the vehicle with the other 40 lights on it and say that it was manufactured so it was brought in, so? No. You have to alter the vehicle in terms of taking off the additional lights for it to suit our laws, our conditions. So some persons will say that the vehicles were manufactured with these additional lights or these extra lights, and this is how they brought it in. But it is against the law. I am seeing a trend with motor vehicle owners and drivers. A majority of the persons now wants to have their vehicles with the lights blinking. It is giving other persons a false sense of direction.